The International Growth Centre is a pretty new initiative in trying to bring academic research and expertise to assist public policy formation in the poorest countries on earth.
What is the central question that we could help the government answer?
Every autumn we convene a conference here in London, which we call Growth Week, and it's a unique gathering. Nowhere else in the world allows people who've got heavy responsibility for tough policy decisions to work together with academics who are focusing their efforts on addressing the questions that policymakers have.
Growth Week this week is remarkable. I mean, we are seeing people from the policy sphere, from the research sphere, talking to each other in ways that not just chit-chat, but talking about concrete proposals and areas where research can make more of a difference.
The fundamental constraint, I think, in my view, is the issue of infrastructure, and it stands at the core of...
And this is an opportunity for us as Zambia to also come and learn other bits of work that the IGC is doing, both in Zambia but also in other countries where it has its presence.
So the Fragile States Initiative is to take a set of countries that for one reason or another have states that are deeply ineffective, that are often prone to political violence, and try and address squarely the research issues that would support policy initiatives to make those states function better.
It's a very important policy question. Relative to the importance of the policy question, there's not been a whole lot of academic work.
I'm coming from Bihar. It is one of the most poorest states of India. And it has a population of more than 100 million, and 70% of its population is living below poverty line. It means their earning is less than $1 per day. And it was a failed state, fragile state. There were no roads, no electricity. And for the last 30-40 years, there was a lot of political turmoil. And no government survived for more than 1 year.
In a fragile state, there is an irreducible need for good leadership.
Often the culture in fragile states is dysfunctional. It's a culture of viewing life as a zero-sum game instead of as a positive-sum game. For obvious reasons that these guys have been living in stagnation for decades, and so life has been a zero-sum game. Economics had this love affair with the donkey and the carrot, an incentive and excessively narrow view of motivation. In thinking about fragile states, we've clearly got to move beyond that. Of course, the applications are much wider than fragile states, but fragile states bring it home to us that the toolkit of 20 years ago in economics is just not up to the job of thinking through fragile states.
But we'd like to, within the IGC, create a sub-network of people who are either working on fragile states, would like to get engaged in the problems of fragile states, to talk to the policymakers, and to get a sense of their concerns and how research can make a difference to addressing the issues that they're facing. The way the aid community is now viewing the issue is that there's a lot of reason to focus on a subset of countries where perhaps, if it's used wisely, aid can make a big difference. But it'll only make a big difference if one understands fully, first of all, what the sources of fragility are, and second of all, what impact particular kinds of interventions are going to have on fragility. And so we view ourselves as potentially building the knowledge base.
The UK taxpayer should be concerned about work on fragile states. Why? Because our soldiers are dying there. Why are our soldiers dying there? Because our government has recognized that there are vital interests, both for our nation and for the world, at stake in fragile states.
For the first time I'm coming in this type of event, but the policy makers, the politicians, the bureaucrats, and the economists and all of the people, they are coming together. So the failed states, or the poorer states, or the fragile states, or those states like African and Asian states, which want to learn best practices from other states. In this type of conference, we get a lot of an opportunity